being part of a crowd is great if your name happens to be Waldo, you like wearing striped shirts and funny hats. But if your goal is to capture the attention of an employer who's looking for a broker to help them find health insurance, then being part of the crowd can be hazardous to your business's health. Now, there is a book written in the 1960s that changed advertising. It was written by Al Ries and Jack Trout, and it's called Positioning. And what it argued very persuasively is that the way to capture attention is not by focusing on your product, not by focusing on your company, not even focusing on yourself, but in getting into the mind of your prospect. It's getting their attention by focusing on what's important to them. So how do you use that insight in order to craft your standout message? Well, fortunately, it's a rather straightforward process. It does require some work, it does require some creativity, but it's something you can do in an hour, maybe less, if you focus on it, because there's a recipe. It's a recipe founded on science. A gentleman named Doug Hall, who wrote the books Jumpstart Your Business Brain and Jumpstart Your Marketing Brain, studied tens of thousands of marketing messages and distilled the key ingredients that create a recipe for an effective marketing message. And we're going to go through those. The first is to present an overt benefit. This answers the question that every one of your prospects is asking themselves while you're talking. What's in it for me? This is where you describe the value of what you bring to the table that is important to that person. Now, you've all seen marketing material from your competitors, and many times it's a variation on a theme. It's, I sell health insurance. Well, that's great. But the prospect's response to that is big whoop-de-doo. It's not about them, it's what you do. Well, they don't care what you do. What they care about is how do they grow their bottom line? How do they become more profitable? How do they grow their business? How do they provide for their loved ones, their colleagues, their friends, their employees? So the overt benefit needs to focus on what's important to them. If you say, I sell health insurance, or some variation of that, I sell less expensive health insurance, you're stuck in your own head. You need to take the step and get into your prospect's mind. Once you've done that, you need credibility. You need to answer the second question they talk about. And that question is, why should I believe that you can deliver on that promise you just made? This is the real reason to believe. The good news is this is the easiest ingredient in Doug Hall's recipe to develop because there's so many ways to do it. Are you number one in your market niche? That's pretty good evidence that you know what you're talking about. Do you have satisfied customers who will give you a testimonial? That's pretty good too. Or you can use scientific facts. There's a host of things that give your prospect confidence that you'll deliver on your promise. And that's all we're talking about with a real reason to believe. Now here's the problem that most advertising has. It stops here. It stops with the first two ingredients. They talk about an overt benefit, they give a reason to believe, and that's it. You've all seen the commercials. It's an Allstate commercial that says, come to Allstate and save money. State Farm, individuals who had State Farm who come to Allstate saved on average $432. The problem with that is what's on right after that is an ad from State Farm that says, come to State Farm and save money. Individuals who left Allstate for State Farm saved roughly $432. So there's no distinction there. There's no difference between what's going on. It's missing the third ingredient to the recipe, and it's the most critical ingredient, the one that most people unfortunately leave out. And that's the dramatic difference. That's where you separate yourself from the crowd. It's where you answer the question, what do you bring that's unique to the table? What can I get through you that I can't get from the other folks? So let's see how this recipe works, and we're going to look at it in two ways. One through the traditional crowd kind of messaging, and one with a standout message. The traditional message we're going to put into the context of this Doug Hall recipe just to give it a fighting chance to be effective. But let's see what most advertising out there by most agencies is like. The first thing they talk about is that they sell health insurance. As we talked about, That's not getting out of their own heads into their client's mind. It's a non-starter, big whoop-de-doo. As far as a reason to believe, they'll talk about how they have satisfied customers who they've worked with. That's actually a very good reason to believe. In my mind, it's one of the most potent, having someone the prospect can relate to say, hey, it worked for me, it'll work for you too. The problem here is you've now given your new prospect a reason to believe that you can deliver a benefit that they don't care about. That benefit is that you sell health insurance. You haven't talked about what they want. And then the way that most brokers will wrap up their message, if they are giving a dramatic difference, or at least trying to, is a statement that says, we shop the market, or we represent all the plans, or something along these lines. There's a couple problems with this. One is, are they implying that other brokers don't shop the market? Or when they do shop the market, they're not looking for the best plan, they're looking for the second best plan? The big problem with this, though, is it's what everyone says. And if everyone's saying it, by definition, it can't be a statement of your dramatic difference. So third whoop-de-doo, 3 whoop-de-doos, you're out. So how can we improve on this? How can we take what Doug Hall talked about, his recipe for an effective message, and have it stand out in the crowd? We're going to take a look at that. And this is, I confess, a little self-serving. We're going to spice up his recipe with a little dose of SeeChange health insurance as well. So a standout message wouldn't be, I sell health insurance. It's, we strengthen the health of your bottom line. Now, that's something a prospect can get excited about. It's her bottom line. It's her profitability. It allows her to expand her business. It allows her to take home more pay. Whatever it is, it's something that is in the mind of the client. What business owner doesn't want a healthier bottom line? You'll notice, however, it doesn't say anything about health insurance. We haven't brought that up. What we're going to focus on is how, using SeeChange health insurance, you can deliver a wellness-centric benefit plan, and preventive programs and wellness programs result in more productive employees. More productive employees mean a healthier bottom line. Why should they believe you? What's our reason to believe? It could be that we have satisfied customers who will attest to it. But another example is that the Obama administration, through the U.S. Department of Labor, sponsored a study by RAND that found that for every dollar spent on wellness programs, on average, there's a savings of $3.27. That's pretty impressive. It's objective. It gives credibility to your message, and it gives the prospect confidence that you can deliver on the promise. And what makes you different? That you're going to do a free wellness audit of her workplace before you recommend any products. Now think about that. We still haven't mentioned health insurance in our message. What we've said is we're going to do a free wellness audit. Now, we haven't mentioned health insurance yet, but we can help you. SeeChange Health Insurance can help you conduct this wellness audit, and part of that will be a checklist to help you compare the wellness components of their existing coverage against the wellness components of a SeeChange health insurance product. And I'm fairly confident we'll win most of the time. So you finally got to the health insurance discussion, but your marketing message is very different than what what prospects are used to hearing, what employers are used to hearing. So think about it. What we've done in a very short amount of time is we've identified an overt benefit that has meaning to that particular prospect. We've given them a reason to believe that they can count on us to deliver that benefit, and we've offered them a difference from what everybody else in the crowd is talking about. In other words, we've crafted a message that allows us to stand out, and no striped shirts or funny hats were required. Thank you very much.